Welcome to another episode of The Modern Hotelier. We're excited to share this conversation with Trent Freeman, VP of Operations at Valencia Hotel Group. David, what were some of your favorite takeaways from this conversation?
Yeah, it was great listening to Trent. I mean, it's for me personally, and given my background, it was great to hear his story about working all these different positions in hotels that led him up to his position. And just in general, it's really cool to see what Valencia is doing.
Great. I really enjoyed the conversation about how Valencia is getting involved with their communities, with philanthropy and really giving back, and just hearing how that not only helps employees, but also the guest experience at the hotels. We're excited to hear what you think. Let us know in the comments and enjoy the episode.
Enjoy it. Welcome to The Modern Hotelier, the most engaged podcast in hospitality. Don't forget to follow, like, and subscribe, and let us know in the comments what you think about today's episode. Steve, who's on the program today?
Yeah, David. Today we have on Trent Freeman. Trent is the VP of Operations at Valencia Hotel Group. He oversees operational excellence across their portfolio of luxury boutique properties. With over 25 years of experience in hospitality, Trent brings a wealth of expertise to the role. And to give you a background about Valencia, they are a hotel collection based in Houston and operators of independent boutique and luxury hotels. Thanks for joining us, Trent. How you doing today?
Doing wonderful, and you?
Good.
All right, Trent. So we're going to get started. We're going to go through a couple sections. We're going to go through a lightning round, ask you some questions there, get to know you a little bit better, and then dive into some industry topics. Sound good?
Absolutely.
All right, here we go. What's something that you wish you were better at?
Something I wish I was better at: golf.
All right. What's the most used emoji for you?
Probably the smiley face.
What's a luxury you can't live without?
Luxury I can't live without is probably... That's a really good question. I like that question. A luxury I can't live without is probably chocolate.
That's a good answer. If you had a time machine, are you going into the future or the past? And what year are you going to go to?
The past, absolutely the past, and probably 1979.
What's the best piece of advice you've received?
Best piece of advice I've received is take a step back and have a little patience for mediocrity, and there's a certain way to address it, and think of all stakeholders involved.
That's good advice. What's your favorite city and why?
Favorite city? That's a good question. I've got to say Houston. That's where I'm from, and it's home. So I've been to quite a few locations. It's nothing like home.
Yeah, I agree.
Well, that sounds great. Well done, Trent. So now we're going to dive into your background a little bit. So like you just mentioned, you grew up in Houston and you also vacationed in California. How did that shape you into who you are today?
I think it gave me a little bit more of a broad perspective, not just growing up in just one, location, but seeing different people, getting to interact with different people. I've lived in various places, Asia and so forth, and it kind of is what kind of sparked my interest in the hospitality industry, just to get to see people and meet people of different backgrounds and so forth.
That's great.
And so you have a Bachelor of Business Administration from Texas State University and a Master's of Hospitality Management from Conrad Hilton College, University of Houston. How did you know early on that you wanted to get into hospitality?
I've always, like I just said, I really enjoy working with people. And I know it sounds kind of cliche. Everybody says that when they get into the hospitality industry. I was graduating college when, the movie Office Space came out. And I knew I didn't want to be in a cubicle answering memos, and responding to memos. I wanted to be out and about. And, I talked to people. I knew some people in the industry. They said it was hard and it's not for everybody. And that I saw that as a challenge, and it takes a lot of energy. It's not for everybody, but I always tell everybody, if it's not in your blood, it's a really difficult way to make a living.
That's great. That's great. And you didn't end up working in the basement. Nice work. You are a very hard person to find research on. You keep your online presence very clean. But one thing I was able to find out was you helped start a book club after COVID while at Valencia. And it was part of a weekly call for general managers and your corporate directors. Can you tell us more about kind of how you got this started? And then I'm going to ask for your favorite book as well.
Absolutely. I love that. So We came out of COVID, which, I hate to say it, the word, but we came out and we had an opportunity because we were kind of rebuilding ourselves. So the first thing we did, we called it the Culture Club. So we got a few of the corporate directors and a few of our general managers together, and we were meeting monthly, trying to figure out how we can kind of reshape ourselves. And what came out of that was the book club. And what we've been doing ever since for the past 4 or 5 years is every week we meet with all of our leaders. We invite everybody, regardless of position, to spend 30 minutes with us each Wednesday afternoon to read books with us and share what they've read across the portfolio. And we really focus on leadership content and hospitality content. Right now, we're next week we'll be wrapping up Part of Hospitality by Micah Solomon, which is a wonderful book. There's been a lot of very inspiring books that we've covered. Will Godada's Unreasonable Hospitality. The first book we did in our book club was Hort Schulze's Excellence Wins. And he was so kind. Our corporate director of branding reached out to him, and he actually spent about 15 to 20 minutes on the call with us.
Wow.
And it was just amazing because, he's a legend in our industry, and I've never had the honor of working directly with him. So I and a few others were just in awe the entire 15 to 20 minutes as he was just speaking to the team very casually and very happy to be on the call.
That's great. And either what's your favorite book or what's your favorite book that you and the team have read so far?
I have this question with the team all the time, and I'm always asking them their favorite book, and they ask me my favorite book. I think the most inspiring is Will Godada's Unreasonable Hospitality because it's right. It really just explains what we can do, those wow factors that we're always looking for in the hospitality industry. So I really enjoyed that book.
That's great. So now we're going to dive into your career a little bit more, how you got to be the VP of operations. So you held various leadership positions with renowned brands such as Peabody Hotels and Resorts, Omni Hotels, Four Seasons. What did those earlier days teach you that you still take with you today?
A lot, and the leaders in those organizations as well. We had, they had several small conversations with me, some of the big ones as well, and I'm grateful for the feedback that they've given me. I've got to tell you, the time, and everybody knows this in the industry. Four Seasons really has a good idea of what they're doing, the culture that they have. And I was at, my first job was the Sheraton North Houston as a front desk agent. And when I got to the Four Seasons, it really just opened my eye about what hospitality is really about and what a culture can be. And my time with Omni as well really taught me a lot about teamwork and more about the business of running a hotel, the financials, and so forth. And Peabody was really a good experience as well. Kind of showed me what I could do with the tools that I've learned and how I could help further move the needle somewhere.
And so you joined Valencia Hotel Group in 2011. You've held various positions, everything from director of food and beverage, director of operations, general manager of the Hotel Valencia Riverwalk. How does working in all those various positions help you in your role today?
It really gives me the confidence to, when I sit at a table, I kind of know what I'm talking about.
Right.
So really, I've always been one to, even when I started off as a front desk agent, I've always been curious, and I think that's what's led to my success thus far because I'm curious about, I get in somewhere and I see how it could be. First, you have to learn how it is and how it works, and then you start to think, well, could we do this? Could we do this? And then you just get engaged, and I'm actually doing the same thing today. And a lot of those times when you don't get that promotion that you want and you're in that position a little bit longer than you kind of wanted to be, you just get experience.
That's great.
That's a good answer.
Did you have a favorite position kind of before you got here? Like, did you really enjoy working on the food and beverage side specifically or anything like that?
I was just on our call yesterday with one of the properties. I actually had the opportunity to tell this story, but my favorite position was when I was the PM assistant front office manager at Four Seasons in Houston. And I just felt like I owned that shift. I felt like I was the chief energy officer on the shift. I really it was my first real experience with leadership. And I learned very quickly, if you just communicate to the team and you just, you keep, every team has opportunities. And it really gave me the opportunity to really just see what I could do from a leadership standpoint, escorting VIPs, keeping the front desk engaged and having those small conversations. And some, the cool thing about some properties is when the team is truly engaged, when they're truly engaged, then you'll have peer-to-peer accountability. I remember when I was at Four Seasons, one of the concierge came up to me and he kind of pulled me to the side. I was the assistant manager. He reported to me. And this is true ownership. He said, "Trent, I hate to tell you, but your jacket's unbuttoned." And I was new on property and I'm like, "My jacket's unbuttoned." And then I looked around. I didn't know that was a thing. So, that just that culture, and I learned a lot in that position, but I was also able to learn what I could do as a leader, and that's really where I developed, I guess, my angle on leadership. And the books help now that we're doing the book club, because I had been every once in a while I'd read a leadership book and so forth, but more or less over the last 2.5 to 3 decades, I kinda learned these things on my own, but it was kind of comforting to know that other people are out there thinking the same things, and these, the trust and inspire culture is really the only way to do it in our industry.
That's great. That's great. What do you focus on more as the VP of operations?
I would say my role is to provide support to the properties. So, it is to give them what they need and to help them see the vision. We have a really good team of talented people and they want to make something happen. They want to matter. They want to be a part of something. And I'm just here to make sure that they get the tools that they need to make that happen.
And for those who might not be familiar with, can you tell us more about Valencia as a whole?
Absolutely. We have 7 properties right now. We have 2 under development in Arlington. We are based in Houston. Our corporate office is in Houston. Most of our properties are in Texas. We do have our first hotel is this one I'm in right now is Valencia Riverwalk, a little over 22 years. We're always about taking our time, not doing anything too quickly, not making any rash decisions, and making decisions that are really optimal for the company and for our investors. We are all about our uniqueness. It's I wouldn't say independent at this point, but we're really trying to make sure we fill a unique niche in each property that we're in. We are not going to go and just go in cookie cutter and put a property in a location without having it mean something for that location, for the community.
That's great. And I love that you just brought up community because we're going to move to the next section, which we focus more on thought leadership. And one thing that I really want to talk about today is kind of Valencia and philanthropy and how they've
Well,
gotten involved in the community. So Valencia has it's called Valencia Helps Week, and it's an annual initiative where Valencia gives back to the hotels surrounding communities. Can you tell us a little bit how this program got started and some of the
mhm,
impacts that it's had on its communities?
happy to. So, Valencia Helps Week was kind of the product of our stellar meetings, and our stellar meetings are meetings, they're continuous improvement meetings that each one of our properties have monthly. And they involve, our front desk agents, housekeepers, engineers, food and beverage servers, cooks, and so forth, all of our line level associates. And they're encouraged to kind of think of how we can do things better in every facet of what we do, from the guest experience to the culture in the hotel and the community. And we've had personal philanthropic days. Each of our associates get 40 hours a year, and we were encouraging people to do it and use those hours, but we weren't getting a lot of people to participate in it. So the Stellar Committee came up with the idea of just having a focus 1 week a year to where we get everybody focused and they get comfortable doing it. So they're encouraged during that week. It's the first full week of June, which is typically slow in our industry. It gives us the opportunity to get more associates involved. And so the idea there is to get everybody as a team giving back to the community. And then throughout the rest of the years, they can burn the rest of their PPDO hours.
So that's aside just sorry, David. So this week is aside from the 40 hours that that's paid
It's
time off
it
that they
includes
get.
those hours,
Okay.
so as many but not every associate can get the full 40 hours. They can't use their full 40 hours that week, so but we really it's not one of those things that we just say we do this and, "Hey, this is a benefit," and but we really want people to use we want our team members to use those hours, and if they don't have the opportunity to use all those hours during Valencia Helps Week, then we encourage them to use the rest throughout the rest of the year.
That's fantastic.
Yeah, and it's great to hear that. And so how do you feel that those type of initiatives, they help influence employee morale, retention, and then ultimately that kind of trickles down to the guest and their experience?
Absolutely, it gets the associates engaged. Everybody wants to matter, and they want to feel like they're doing something. And when you get them engaged in a cause with a purpose of being a part of the community, I kind of, it's what hospitality is all about. It's that gift of giving. It's that feeling of actually feeling important because you made somebody else feel important. And so if we can get our associates to really see that as part of giving back to the community, then they'll kind of understand what we're actually looking for when they deal with our guests, both internal and external, both, amongst each other. And then they start to feel that and they become engaged. And then it obviously has a positive impact on the guest experience.
Absolutely. One thing we talk about a lot on this podcast, since David and I both come from the independent space, is really hotels becoming part of the community. And it's not just a hotel, but really having a place where, hyper local experience is all the rave, but like where people from the community can come hang out at the restaurant, the bar,
Mhm.
kind of being that hub. Do you have any advice for other independent hotels on how to almost become this hub for the community?
Absolutely. The big word in our industry right now is being authentic.
Yeah.
And right, we hear that a lot, authentic. Well, what does that mean? I think it's beyond thread count and really just local art. People, they think they can put a local piece of art on the wall and they're authentic. But authentic, people, when you're in a community, you take care of each other and you are a part of that community. So to not just put up a brick and mortar building and throw some local art in it, it's about being engaged in the community and actually having the community appreciate you being there. And I would say that that is essential now as everybody is trying to be authentic and giving people a reason to travel, and they wanna feel like people when they stay with us, our guests actually feel like they wanna stay somewhere where it's truly authentic piece of the community. So I would say it's essential moving forward as people are developing hotels.
Absolutely.
That makes sense. So what advice or what kind of guidance would you give to other independent hotels? And then maybe some specifics on how you guys have done it to implement these philanthropy type of, incorporation into the business
Mm.
model for these hotels.
Well, I would say it's really just the right thing to do,
Right.
and like I said, it's, if you really wanna have a team that's engaged and is doing you can't go around, this the, carrot and stick thing doesn't work anymore. You gotta focus on the trust and inspire and actually kind of people inspire them to actually wanna be a part of something and feel like they're a part of something. And a truly engaged team just makes when you're running a hotel, it just makes the leadership's lives so much easier and, so much more rewarding as well.
Absolutely. And so Valencia is about to be over 20 years old. You guys are obviously growing, expanding. It seems like you have the right idea down with giving back to the community and being authentic. What's next for Valencia?
So what's next is we're going to continue to take our time and make the right decisions. We're going to properly vet and make sure that we're not jumping anything too quickly before we've thought it out. So we are growing and we'll continue to grow, but we're not going to get too big for our britches. We're going to focus on building a culture from within, making sure that our team members have the resources they need to honestly grow and self-actualize. And, I'm very proud to say that of all of our general managers, I believe our average tenure of our general managers is about 20 years,
Wow.
Wow.
with the newest being 13 years with us. So we really focus on our culture and developing that. And that's what we're going to continue to focus on. And we'll grow naturally as we should.
That's great. That's great.
So I'm going to add a question in here. So as you were talking about the position you liked the most, it kind of threw me back to my days in college and when I worked the front desk, and eventually they gave me the ability to kind of unofficially be the manager on Friday nights because the one woman worked, 6 days a week. That's when I kind of felt like I belonged and I knew this was for me, hospitality. Was there a moment where or a position you had where you were like, yep, I know this is what I'm going to be doing, for the rest of my life?
I think that was it. When I talked about the PM AFOM at the Four Seasons, I just felt it. I felt that energy, and it was really that ability. I knew, like I said, that spirit of hospitality, that feeling, the gift of giving, as a front desk agent. But then, in my first true leadership position, I realized that if I can provide that same experience to my fellow associates, then I can really do something big. I have the power to change people's lives just by being a leader and giving them the support and the confidence they need to help move on with their life and treat them like individuals, not just cogs on a wheel.
No, well said.
Great. Very well said. So, Trent, we've been asking you the questions this whole time. This is where we turn the tables and let you ask David and I a question.
Absolutely. So, real quick, David, you said your career in the hospitality industry, I presume?
Correct. Yeah.
And what was your favorite position?
I would say if you said what was my favorite position, it would probably have to be my first because I didn't know how much I was going to like hotels. My first job, I was a union busboy at the downtown Hyatt in Pittsburgh, and I didn't know what to expect. And I wouldn't say it was my best job, obviously, but it was probably the one that I just kind of felt like this is just really cool. I love the energy of the hotel and kind of just the movement of just the kitchen and the restaurant. So for me, my first was kind of, I think my favorite because I just felt like this is where I'm going to be.
Nice. And Steve, I guess I'll ask you the same question.
I think what I'm doing right now is my favorite job I've ever had, to be honest with you. I think
I can
we
imagine.
honestly have one of the coolest jobs in hospitality right now. We get to talk to so many different types of people on this podcast, folks like yourself who are leaders in the industry and really shaping what hospitality is not only has become, but is becoming in the future. So for me, being a podcaster and part of a media company is by far my favorite job I've ever had. But
Good to
that
hear.
was great. Great question, Trent. I don't think we've had that one before, so kudos to you. Our producer, John, has been sitting in and listening this whole time. So we're going to pass it over to him for one final question before we get you out of here.
Absolutely.
It's been awesome to listen to your conversation today. One thing that we got to do is we got to speak to John Keeling at ILC Chicago just a few months back. It was a very short amount of time, but one of the things that stuck out is he said that one of Valencia's advantages is that you don't really follow the trends or the rules. You kind of like, the rules, but and you mentioned that too, you're focused on the uniqueness. So I'm curious, what does that mean for you guys, like for you specifically in your role for operations? Does that make it harder for you knowing that you guys are unique in a lot of the things that you do? Or what does that just mean generally for you at Valencia?
I think we don't really have a lot of side rails keeping us moving in a particular direction, and we have the ability to think on our feet and move how we're kind of agile in that respect. So we do have a long-term strategy. However, we're not bound by stockholders or people that we don't know. We're a very tight-knit team, and everybody knows everybody's name, and it allows us to move in the direction we need to when we need to move in that direction.
just one follow-up. What is one property that you guys have that you think really exemplifies that uniqueness or maybe rule-breaking mentality?
Wow, that is a good question because they all do. I do
Okay, yeah.
think that I want to go with Lone Star Court because it was our first court concept, and Doyle Graham had the vision of the court concept, which is urban kind of oasis. When you're inside the Lone Star Court, the trees are all growing, and now you feel like you're in the middle of the countryside. You forget that you're in the middle of one of the largest metropolitan areas in the country, and it just gives this sense of space, and really it broke the rules. And we do see several other developers kind of moving in the same direction, but that property really broke the rules when we built it.
Well, that does it for another episode of The Modern Hotelier. Trent, this is where you get to let people know how they can get in touch with you and how they can find out more about Valencia.
Absolutely. Valencia, T. Freeman of Valencia Hotel Group.com, and happy to help wherever I can.
That's great. Thank you. So that does it for another episode of The Modern Hotelier, the most engaged podcast in hospitality. So whether you're watching or listening, we appreciate you and hope to be with you again soon. Thank you for joining us, Trent.
Thank you, everybody.
You made it to the end of The Modern Hotelier. Thanks for watching or listening. The Modern Hotelier is produced by Modern Hotelier Media. Make sure to like and subscribe if you're listening on YouTube, or subscribe wherever you get your podcasts. If you know a good guest, sponsor, or have media needs, feel free to reach out to us at hello@themodernhotelier.com. Thanks and have a great day.